Today we are talking about the third patriarch, Jacob. When Rebekah was carrying her sons in her womb, they were kicking. She heard a voice from God that said, "There are two peoples in your womb, and the older will serve the younger." Esau was born first among the twins. His name means radish. Jacob came out after him, holding his brother's heel. That is why his name means heel. We know that Isaac loved Esau more because he loved game meals, while Rebekah loved Jacob. Jacob is a very complex personality. If we say that Abraham is the forefather of Judaism, then Jacob himself is the embodiment of Judaism. This is already shown by the fact that after the name change, God gave him the name Israel, which is the name of the people's home. The Holy Script tells a lot of stories about him that we cannot mention all. Jacob knows how to love and has a very deep faith. He is primarily a spiritual person and works with God throughout his life. God's angel appeared to him several times. Jacob's life shows that even if a person commits a sin and receives the corresponding punishment, God can turn it to his advantage. In one of Jacob's dreams, he sees a ladder with God's angels walking up and down. He learns from this that the angels are here among us. They often come down and help us. It is true that Jacob cheats his father to obtain his father's blessing, which belongs to the firstborn, but Esau had already sold his birthright for a bowl of lentils. Jacob deceived his father, so he was also deceived. Laban married him not to Rachel after 7 years of free work, which he did for his love, but the older daughter Leah. He then worked for 7 more years for Rachel, whom he loved very much. However, he also beloved Leah, who became the mother of his 6 sons and 1 daughter, including the first 4 most important of the 12 patriarchs, whose names are Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah. Jacob works for 14 years for free at Laban, making him very rich. God is with him every step of the way. But then he separates from him and asks for dowry only the dark-colored lambs and the striped and spotted goats. With a little cunning and God's help, he soon becomes extremely rich, richer than Laban. Jacob heads home with his large family, servants, wives, their maidservants, and 11 children. At night, before meeting Esau, he is alone. An angel of God appears to him and fights with him. Jacob fights with all his strength to defeat him. His hip sprains, but he manages to grab hold of the angel and doesn't let him go until he blesses him. When he receives the blessing, God's angel changes his name from Jacob to Israel. You can read the significance and deeper meaning of this in my book, The 7 Sacraments in the Light of the Holy Script. Jacob builds altars in several places on the way to Canaan. When he arrives in Canaan, he also builds an altar in Bethel. God's angel then appears to him again, and he receives the same 3 promises that Isaac and Abraham did: a blessing, many descendants, and the land on which he resides. Jacob loved his first son Joseph, who was born from Rachel, the best, and his special abilities are the reason that Joseph was disliked by his brothers and they sold him. Joseph goes to Egypt. After many hardships, he becomes the first man of the country after the Pharaoh and takes his father and his family to Egypt during the famine. Rachel is no longer alive because she dies giving birth to the last son, Benjamin. So Israel moves to Egypt with his entire large family, 70 people. The Pharaoh gives them the land of Goshen. Israel dies at the age of 147. According to his will, he is buried not in Egypt, but in the tomb of his fathers. Before his death, he adopts Joseph's 2 sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, and blesses them. He does it by crossing his arms and placing his right hand on the head of the younger boy Ephraim. This indicates that the younger one will be bigger than the older one.